Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin, taking a look at that most recent price action and what I think is likely to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to join us down in Discord, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. It's the first place we go to notify you of everything that's going on in the crypto space, so why not keep a finger on the pulse of crypto by joining us down in Discord, linked in the description below. Okay, cool. So today is going to be an interesting day. We've got the interest rates over in the US. Let's just see if I can find. I think it's about 7 o'clock. BST, basically British summertime. I'm just going to check to see here. We've got a few different things on our charts here. Fed press conference is at 7:30 there, and we've got 7 o'clock for the interest rate decision. So the market's going to be volatile today. Okay, we're going to take a look at the charts. We're going to take a look at smart money in a moment, but before we do that, we want to just reflect on our structures here for Elliott wave theory. So as we were taking a look at this yesterday, we were expecting this kind of fifth movement to the downside. I think we're right about actually having this set slightly differently. It's about here, and I do think that one is actually the 5-wave structure. So as I was saying yesterday, we kind of just needed to see a few more candles just to kind of get an idea as to kind of what was going on in here. So that's essentially it. We broke above this resistance line and turned it into a support level. So I would say that we're going to see some volatility today, but we do have a 5-wave structure in here. Okay, so with all that said, it's important that we reflect on what's going on up here. Now, there's a couple of things of interest to me. Straight off the bat, we can see that we have this high here, where we were finding the upper resistance earlier. We also have this one right up here. There's also a low down at this low point and a high, so it does look like there's a potential. It doesn't really meet the requirements, so we'll take it with a pinch of salt. But there's some kind of maybe 5-wave structure here. Okay, and then there's the idea that maybe there's a 5-wave structure here, like this, right? And then we can get that break to the upside. There's a problem with this though, is it's unusual. We would not expect to see that after completing a 5-wave structure to the downside. And considering we've got a 5-wave structure over here as well, it'd be very, very unusual. We can remove this one. We don't need that anymore. So we know we have upper areas here to kind of be attacking and kind of going for. We're finding that the 200 EMA is current resistance and the 50 EMA is our support line, so we'll keep an eye on that. But at the moment, we've got an interesting structure. Now we can of course look at this maybe slightly differently and go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe we get that 5th wave there. Again, wouldn't necessarily expect that to be the case, but it does meet the fib level requirements. If I take the fibs over here, snap that down there, move this over to the low, you can see we did pass the 1.618. But I don't think that's really what is going on. I think there is potentially a 335 here, and we're going to look for reversals. So key numbers to be looking for. Are we going to drop down lower than 28,159.26? If we do, then that validates the idea that we have that 5th wave movement to the upside. And if we do actually rally on up, where would we rally to? Well, we'd rally up here. Okay, so if we were to see a bullish break, then we're going to be looking for the target of 29,009 and 29,090. That's going to, 29,221 on the high side and $29,009 on the low side, as we can kind of see in there. So we've got two ideas here, right? If we have this and we think of a bullish market as a 5-wave structure, then our targeted range up here is going to be there. Okay, and likewise, if wave 4 comes down into this low point, it invalidates the structure and prevents that from happening. Is this worth trading right now? No, not in my opinion. I think trades will come later, and we'll see how that kind of goes. In an ideal world, what we would see here would be some kind of maybe retest of this low, and then we actually wrap this up slightly bigger, like this, and we do this. Okay, this will be the ideal. This is an ideal move in structure because it allows us to be a little bit more predictive over what happens next, and then we can trade it. Okay, and essentially that's kind of what the objective here is, right? We're just trying to trade these small movements on the charts, and we're trying to make sure that we stack all the data in our favor so we can make a most informed decision possible, right? What we don't want to do is just gamble on whether we go long or go short. And what I mean by that is we can't just simply go, look, we've got a trend line here and we're above it, so we're going to go long. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So we want to be really aware and cautious of markets at times, and I'd say now's a pretty interesting time to be cautious. Overall, our structure, I think is going to be leading us down towards 24,864, and I expect today to be that bearish situation that unfolds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, taking us into this big 5-wave structure. And I don't expect all of that to be complete today. I would expect the wave 2 to be complete today, and at least start wave 3 coming down. Okay, that would be my expectations. Now, when we take a look at this again, just zooming in a fraction further, and we take a look at our stochastic, we can still see that there's room to the upside on the 1 hour chart. If I bring the stochastic up here, we can see that. If I take this to a 4 hour, we're almost overbought. We can reverse from here if we needed to. The 8 hours also progressing upwards, 12 hours reversed, but it actually still has room to the downside, I will note. It's not oversold. 16 hours still has to come down a bit as well. 20 hour can come down. Daily can still come down. Weekly has a long way to go down. Okay, so we know that across these different time frames, there's a lot of room still to the downside to be had here before we even start to think about moving up in a significant way, which I think would come on our wave 4 over here, for example. Okay, now if we were to reflect on all of those things, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, 4, and 5 to take us down into this wave 3. So you start to see how all of this is nesting together. Okay, so from an Elliott wave theory point of view, there's a lot to kind of be said about the bigger macro pieces, and for the smaller movements, I'm still expecting a small push up higher here, but we want to stay below. I'd put another line on here. We need to stay now below 29,969. Doesn't really matter how much higher it pushes, as long as we stay below 29,969, we'll keep this structure valid. Now, it's possible that this is all a part of a bigger corrective play, so we want to be aware of that. We could be looking at a irregular flat right in here, like this. Okay, so that's a possibility, which still means we're actually in this sideways trade from down here, like this. Okay, so it's all possible still, but for now we'll hope to stay below, and we should stay below within structure of 29,969. Okay, that's the key number there. So if we were to want to do anything on the market like short it, and prices coming up into our resistance lines are around 29,250, for example, that stop loss is going to be up here, preferably above 30,036, or if you've got a bigger kind of budget and less leverage, why not aim for 31? Okay, but if we're going to keep things nice and tight, I would be looking at keeping it above 30,036, and then I'll be targeting out that 24K area down here, and we'll get getting real good risk-reward ratio. Okay, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you financial advice. All I can do is give you my thoughts and opinions on the data as I see it and what I would be doing personally if I look at the charts through a certain lenses. Now, if I jump over into the smart money concepts point of view, we were talking about fair value gaps yesterday. We had this one here that was not marked up on 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗀. We pulled across here. We can see that we pushed right back up into this range. Okay, now we had the same scenario over here. We had another fair value gap that was not marked on 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗀, although on the smaller time frames, I believe like the 15 minutes, I believe they did show up. We'll see if that loads. Didn't load here, but there's one down here, for example. So we know that it can show up on the smaller time frames. Now over here, for example, we can see that we've pushed up into equilibrium, and we got rejected from equilibrium. Okay, and we haven't yet completely filled out this gap. So still possible that we do push up into that kind of 29,200 level before rejecting to the downside. But it's interesting to see that equilibrium has held, and we got rejected from here. This also happens to coincide quite nicely with our previous support level. So support turned resistance, and now we're breaking on down. It does look, if we really zoom in on the micro movement, I know that we do like these. If we just grab our fibs here, I'm going to pull that onto here and move that over to the wick right there. We can see that we did pull down quite nicely, but we didn't have a 1.618 trigger point just yet. That is significantly low, and we've got overlap going on here as well. So we could look at it maybe as a diagonal within this structure, and we come down and maybe we're starting a leading movement. But until we kind of get confirmation on that, we'll kind of hold judgment just now. So looking at it, yeah, everything here is kind of playing out according to what we were talking about yesterday. The only exception is that we were kind of hoping that we'd actually have one more leg down to make this a cleaner 5-wave movement than what we currently had here. But again, we can still see that it does map out quite nicely as a 5-wave structure. So all in all, everything is kind of playing towards the direction that we thought it was, and everything is kind of going along according to plan. So we should push up slightly higher in my opinion. And then I think during the interest rates and the Fed speech, I think they called it, press conference, I think what we'll do is we'll see that volatility really take a bit of a dive to the downside. It'll be interesting to kind of see how everything unfolds. So do join us down in Discord. We'll be doing a watch along in the Discord server for the press conference and the interest rate decision this evening. So do go ahead and join us in Discord, linked in the description below, if that is of interest to you. Ultimately, everything on Bitcoin is looking pretty interesting, and I think it is going to lead the crypto market in whatever direction it decides to go in. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think the interest rates are going to be positive for Bitcoin, or do you think they are going to be negative for Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to risk your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.